Equilibrium. The demand curve is a downward sloping curve reflecting the law of demand, which states that as the price of a good or service increases, consumer demand for that good or service will decrease. While the supply curve is an upward sloping curve reflecting the law of supply, which states that as the price of a good or service increases, the quantity of good or services that suppliers will offer will increase. The intersection of the demand and supply curve is market equilibrium. At this point, supply and demand are in balance. At the equilibrium price, the quantity that buyers are willing to buy exactly matches the quantity that sellers are willing to sell. So everybody is satisfied and there is no wastage. If the price is set below equilibrium, quantity demanded will be greater than quantities supplied, so there will be a shortage in the market. This shortage will usually lead to prices increasing to equilibrium, thus removing the shortage. If the price is set above equilibrium, quantity supplied will be greater than quantity demanded, and there will be a surplus in the market. This surplus will usually lead to prices dropping to the equilibrium, thus removing the surplus. A change in demand will shift the equilibrium price and quantity. If there is an increase in demand, this will shift the demand curve right, from D1 to D2. This may be because of incomes increase, population increase, taste and popularity increase, price of substitutes increase, price of complements decrease, or expected future prices are expected to increase. This will increase equilibrium price from P1 to P2, and equilibrium quantity from Q1 to Q2. However, if there is a decrease in demand, this will shift the demand curve left from D1 to D3. This may be because of incomes decrease, populations decrease, taste and popularity in the product decrease, price of substitutes decrease, price of complements increase, and or expected future prices decrease. This will decrease equilibrium price from P1 to P3 and equilibrium quantity from Q1 to Q3. A change in supply will shift the equilibrium price and quantity. If there is an increase in supply, this will shift the supply curve right from S1 to S2. This may be because of the factors production decrease, substitutes in production decrease, complements in production increase, expected future price decrease, number of suppliers increase, or technology increases. This will decrease equilibrium price from P1 to P2 and increase equilibrium quantity from Q1 to Q2. However, a decrease in supply will shift the supply curve left from S1 to S3. This may be because of factors of production costs increase, substitute in productions increase, complements in production decrease, expected future prices increase, number of suppliers decrease, or technology decreases. This will increase equilibrium price from P1 to P3 and decrease equilibrium quantity from Q1 to Q3. The market may experience both a change in demand and supply. One may increase while one decreases. What happens to the equilibrium price and quantity depends on the size of the shift. You will need to sketch a graph to establish the effect on equilibrium price and quantity. However, for example, if there is an increase in demand and supply, and the increase was the same size, then equilibrium price would stay the same while equilibrium quantity would increase. However, if there was an increase in supply and an increase in demand double the size of the supply, then the equilibrium price would increase and equilibrium quantity would increase. Now, the government can intervene in the market. They may set a maximum price, called a price ceiling. The government may state that the bananas are of national importance and the price should not get out of control. That's the maximum price is blah. Only problem is suppliers don't want to supply at this price and there is a huge demand. Thus, there is a shortage. You can have a price ceiling above equilibrium, however this is not effective. It should be noted that a shortage may encourage a black market, which is an illegal market for those who are unable to purchase the goods. The government may set a minimum price, called a price floor. The government often imposes price floors to ensure imported goods don't undercut domestic producers because they have an unfair advantage because the importing nation may not have a minimum wage unlike Australia. However, if a price floor is set above equilibrium, there will be a surplus because although suppliers are more than willing to supply, consumers don't demand the good. In Australia, we have this. It's called the minimum wage, so we often have a number of people unemployed. To conclude, the intersection of the demand and supply curve is equilibrium price and quantity. At this point, there is no wastage. If prices are set below equilibrium, this will create a shortage as quantity demanded exceeds quantity supplied. If prices are set above equilibrium, this will create a surplus as quantity supplied exceeds quantity demanded. A change in demand will change equilibrium price and quantity. An increase demand, e.g. shift right, will increase price and quantity. A decrease in demand, shift left, will decrease price and quantity. A change in supply will also change equilibrium price and quantity. An increase in supply, shift right, will decrease price and increase quantity, while a decrease in supply, shift left, will increase price and decrease quantity. Now, the government can intervene in the market. They may set a price ceiling, i.e. a maximum price, to stop prices getting out of control. However, this leads to a shortage. The government can also set a price floor, i.e. minimum price, to support industries. However, this leads to a surplus in the market.